And we are live. Welcome to another episode of the Uncensored Entrepreneurs. And today's topic, it's something that's actually impacting each and every one of us in life, in business, whether you have brick and mortar or whether you're just working from home, whether you've got a home-based business, any of those things, it's impacting every single one of us. So we're going to be talking a lot about how to pivot, when to pivot, and setting those expectations in a shifting economy. So stay tuned. We'll be right back. See you on the inside. And we are back. I realized that I said home-based business twice on that intro. And so that's how important this topic is when it comes to you and your home-based business.
I didn't even realize that you said that.
Yeah, I realized it afterwards. But
are you pitching home-based businesses today?
No, that's what I mean. It's a perfect segue into what we're going to be talking about. But anyways, welcome to the Uncensored Entrepreneurs. And we were actually just discussing before we came on in our kind of like our back chat about, not just for ourselves, but our clients and so many that just in everyday life that we network with or we collaborate with, we're all finding that you have to kind of pivot and set some new expectations, not just for yourself and your own goals, but for the clients that you're working with as well. And so we're going to be talking a lot about that, some of the hurdles that we've overcome, and really just kind of how to lay out some of these things so that you can stay in business regardless of what type of economy we're sitting in.
Yeah. I've heard a lot of talk, in the industry with coaches, entrepreneurs, high-end network marketers, all trying to pivot and trying to see what is going on in their business. Like, this is not working anymore. This is not working anymore. What am I doing? What should I do? I mean, majority of the reason is you need to have multiple streams of income too, instead of just that one stream. But we are like, Mom!
You see my face right up when I see her. I'm like, hi, Mom.
Right? Like, Mom! Like, I just want to go over there. It was her birthday the other day. I just wish her a happy birthday. I just want to go over there, give her a big hug.
Oh, she will love you. She's going to meet you one day and she's just going to love you. But Tina, continue, because, talking about multiple streams of income and how important it is and how, in entrepreneurship, we have to pivot. This is where boys become men. This is where girls become women. Like, this is where the line is drawn in the sand and you either make it or you don't.
Yeah. And having multiple streams of income is not that hard. You just have to think outside the box. Christina and I have spoken many times in the last 2 or 3 months about creating different price points for your clients. A lot of people have that $10,000, $20,000 price point. That's no longer working. So you got to adjust, right? You got to have those price points from $47. Listen, Mom, we just talked about this, how we're going to let her have the baby live on air and how this will help our ratings so much so we don't have to pivot so much. And she refuses. So can you help us out? I mean, baby Isaac can come on air. We'll be totally fine.
For those that actually don't see the comments or are just tuning in that are unaware, Chris, we've actually got 5 people on the show. Currently,
my mom shows up every week.
Well, I meant more like baby in the oven. That
too.
So,
she's like, oh yeah, I forgot I was pregnant.
Yeah, obviously, Cheryl's mentioning that she's not in labor yet, but it is going to be very soon. So,
literally 2 weeks away from her delivery date. Like, we're like, okay, she's gonna show up. So
Right.
I'm showing up. I might take a week or a bit off, a little bit of time, but I will have that baby. It was so cute last night though. Izzy, she's like been talking to my belly, right? She's 10 months, 9.5, whatever the hell it is. It's a
She's like
really long
15
time
months.
for a child to wait for a
pregnant.
baby. She's like talking to him this week. She's like, you can come out now. We're ready for you. You can come out now. She's like, you are going to love your life here. We get to go to the beach all the time and we get to do all these fun things together. And so she's like, encourage. It's so cute.
It's okay. Come out.
You know, she's happy. She's happy.
You're going to love it here. Mom is great. I mean, she's a little nutso sometimes.
She's pitching it. She's definitely pitching it.
So come on out, little Jose.
Mom, you're not interrupting. So the other thing is we can see the comments before everybody else. Robert's putting the comments up as we see them. So Mom, you're not interrupting. Don't worry. We love you.
No, not at all. In fact, we appreciate the interaction. And by the way, for those that are tuning in, even if it's on the replay, you know, we love the interaction and the comments. We always respond back to people. Again, even if it's on a back channel, or if we have to reach out to you directly, we will. And we're always looking to kind of expand the topics that we speak on. So I'm going to kick things off because there's a few things when it comes to like pivoting and setting these expectations. We're talking about it in one context that right now we're finding that there's a shifting economy, right? Mm-hmm. And so whether you're a coach, whether you're a network marketer, whether you have a home-based business or even a brick and mortar business that you operate, almost at every level, people are having to kind of reinvent their products and services along the way so that it fits like client demand, customer demand in this economy. And so that's the first thing I'll kick off. I've got a few different points. One of them in my notes was how to adjust your offerings based on new customer demands and needs. And needs are really important too. So let's not overlook the fact that we're really focused heavily on the need during this type of economy rather than the wants.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
What do you think there? Let's kick that off just based on
the extras, like Robert, the extras go out the window right now because if it's not food, clothing, shelter, or something for your kids, you're not spending money on it right now because you don't have the extra money with the cost of living, with your mortgage going up, with insurance, with all this kind of stuff shifting and changing, right? And by the way, this is just a cycle. Like we're going to come out on the other side. Spring is coming. This is not a doom and gloom kind of thing. It's just understanding that this is how the world works. This is just part of a cycle and we're going to get through it all together. But it really is about building your chops in business because most new businesses don't make it past the 3-year mark because they don't have enough money to sustain the ups and the downs. And now we're going to see long-term business that maybe excelled and did really amazing over the last couple of years. But guess what? The tides have changed. And if you spent like you were going to win like that forever and don't have reserves or don't have the ability to pivot quickly, change your pricing, change your offer, and give people what they need right now versus what you think that they want. There's a difference, right? Between what you think that they want versus needs, then you're going to have a really hard time staying in business. You're going to have a really hard time making money right now. And like the hard thing for me is watching single moms that are trying to thrive right now, watching people on social media, like my house is going to go into foreclosure. Like this is real. This is like absolutely real. And so if you're somebody in business that is like beating yourself up and be like, well, my business isn't going very well. Yeah. You and everybody else. And so here's some stuff that we're going to talk about today that's going to help you move through that.
Yeah.
And I was listening to Amy Porterfield this morning, and she was saying that it's perfectly normal to change things in your business throughout the years because so many people think, oh no, I'm this. When I started, I was the gratitude specialist, and I'm still the gratitude specialist. I still talk about gratitude all the time. But I have pivoted my business into now the publishing industry because so many people needed that and so many people wanted that. So, having all those different things in there. Oh, you need this, you need this. I mean, keep it in your circle.
Supply and demand. Yeah.
Keep it in your circle, but have multiple things that you can offer all of those clients that are coming in, depending on where they're coming in at and what they need.
Yeah. And the beautiful thing is when you're able to integrate a skill set that you've had into something else as well, right? So you're able to kind of intertwine and layer those together. I know that I do that a lot. And, we were just talking about this the other day that when it comes to digital products and services, because, we're all in that market, about 6-7 years ago, you could launch almost anything digitally, like any type of an ebook, a course, a boot camp, And it was really easy to fill those seats, right? Or to fill like certain expectations that you were setting up for the event. And now it's very, very hard. And it's because of the things that you said, Christina. It isn't that your content is bad. It isn't that your offering is even bad. I mean, whether I'm offering a boot camp at $9.99 or $999, right? You're still seeing some of the same issues in regards to filling that quota, those seats, or however many people you expect it to be in that event. And it's, I think, twofold. It's one, just expenditures, any extra money that people are putting out towards things. Of course, that's one of them. And then the other one is the fact that like time is also, it just seems to be like whenever we're in this type of a shifting economy where, prices have gone up and inflation is through the roof and people aren't sure, their time seems to be the same exact thing as well, right? I know I do that. I'm starting to shift some of my time more into things that matter, like family, of course, which does pull me away from my business a little bit. But there's always going to be this catch-22. It's an adverse effect, right?
And also, Robert, you talked a little bit before the show. We had a conversation happening before the show in our little private chat, and before we always do
the show before the show.
Yes. And so we got to discuss some important things, and it's really important that you brand yourself too. And Robert is like really known in the industry for branding. And this is important. I've been talking to some of my colleagues and even some of my clients who are like, well, I want to focus on this, but people know me for this. You need to brand yourself. For example, with me, I do coach coaches, but I also can coach beauty professionals. I can coach moms. I can help people in various areas when it comes to strategy, organization. So I want you guys to really think about developing your team, managing your team. Those are a lot of my genius areas. So really think about what it is that you can do and what you can bring to market, even if you think it's slightly different than what you've been doing. We all, every one of us on this panel has multiple streams of income. A lot of them are very related to each other because I'm a firm believer in that. But we also have different things, different business models that we focus on that may not be related to what you see us doing here online too. Correct. So really think about what you can bring to market. Also, the other thing is this high ticket. Everybody's preaching about high ticket. This is the fastest path to cap.
Thank you.
However, there's a different formula.
Really help you scale as well, and really having that combination of your product suite with those digital products that people can download, courses that people can download that don't take up your time. Robert talked about your family, being able to have that time freedom. All of these things come into play. And the last thing I'm going to touch on when it comes to branding yourself is that even if your business is slow this year, you need to show up and be very consistent all year long. You're going to be on top when the economy turns around. Who's going to be bringing in all of the massive bucks?
Preach it, girlfriend. Preach it. All right.
She's on fire.
While it is slow, quote unquote slow, create those digital products. I just created a digital.
This is the best time.
Yes, I just created a digital course to, write your own book, a completely DIY thing, because that is what my audience needed and wanted. And so take this time to redo your website, to do your digital, your digital products. And there are so many digital products that you can create, ebooks and courses and PDFs. And there's so many things. So, literally go to ChatGPT and put in there, your little thing. This is what I do. Create me 20 digital products that I can create, and it'll tell you what you can do.
It's so funny how this shift, like years ago, and I'm starting to circle back around to like the way we did things, 7-8 years ago in the digital space. It's all kind of cyclical and it's coming back around. And when you think like these last couple of years, it has been all about big coaching platforms and high ticket offers, right? But back then we talked about some of the most simplistic fundamentals in why you should personally brand yourself and the way that you can, enter this world of home-based business and digital marketing. And one of them, the basic one that I'll still put out there, and I'm starting to revisit that again for myself and clients, is, when they're sitting there and they're going, okay, I make $20, $30, $40, $50 an hour, whatever that may be. And you think about taking whatever talent that you have, whatever gift that you've been given, that you've been honing in, that skill, just creating something like a digital asset or an ebook or something on that, teaching others on how they can actually be better at that skill set as well. And then now imagine selling that thing at your hourly rate over and over and over
Amen.
and over again. That's expansion. That's scaling, right? Because you know that you're only working 40, 50 hours a week, and you have the ability to sell that product more than 40 or 50 times in a week's time. So coming back to those basics, just letting everyone know that you all have that inside you. And Star, the last thing, because you were speaking my language, girlfriend, so preach it. On the personal branding side, how many guests have we had on this podcast, or even other people that you've collaborated with in the last few years that have left their business, or their business is no longer even around, right?
Yeah.
Like in this space.
Especially in the network marketing industry. And we're seeing so many of that right now. And I'm so glad the ones that have been are leaving or doing whatever, they did personally brand themselves.
Yes.
That's it. Exactly right. The ones that are around, the ones that are surviving this economy and any economy going forward are the ones that know how to pivot, but they've also built an audience of value, and they've continued to give value because it doesn't matter if they have to shift. People know, like, and trust them. And that's really the connection that you're trying to make.
What's funny is like 10, 15 years ago when I was networking one time, I was out there, preaching the gratitude specialist and client retention and follow up and all the stuff that I was teaching in the beginning. And everybody's like, oh my God, you should do this one business. And I went, oh, that's a tool that I use. It's, that was actually the network marketing company that I was involved with at the time, but nobody knew it because I was never, I was Tina Torres, the gratitude specialist. I wasn't Tina Torres from whatever company. So, so when I did leave that company to go to another similar company, nobody knew because I never put that out there. So you definitely have to brand yourself because in a time like this, you don't want to be just the juice lady. You don't want to be just you don't want to be just the,
just the juice lady. That sounds like that's a good slogan right there. If you want to just grab it.
Just the juice lady. But I think that this is such an important conversation because look, what's going to happen right now. First of all, I love what Star said. You have to freaking show up. You have to show up every day. You have to be loud. There are people falling off left, right, and center. You have to be a voice and a leader. Like you have to be that person that commits because so many people, they treat their business like a hobby or they do it when they feel like it, right? Yes. And so to be a true entrepreneur, you need to show up every day. The other piece of it is you are going to fail more now than before. You are going to fail forward. You're going to try things that don't work, try a different angle, try something else, right? Yeah. And I think all of us, by the way, in the last few months have been through that and trying different angles and things that we need to do and pivoting in that way because we need to serve the audience that is there. Now, this is the biggest mistake people make is that they speak out and they do what they think their audience wants instead of having conversations and understanding the position that they're in. And if you want to win faster, then it's really truly understanding the conversations that are going on behind the scenes. It's talking to those people. How can I serve you? How can I support you? What are the things that are going to work? Because for a couple of years, high ticket, everyone's like, I want to do high ticket sales. Well, guess what? People are not spending $10,000, $20,000, $30,000 very regularly. Okay. There is a demographic that is absolutely doing that. Okay. But if you don't have that audience, then you're going to have to figure out where can I meet them right now? And Robert, we talked about this a little bit earlier today over Messenger. Sometimes you got to leave your ego at the door. You might be worth $10,000 or $20,000 or $50,000 in your coaching. But if your clients can't afford it because the bottom end is falling out and they got to pay for the necessities in their life, that's the thing that's going to go first because they can't afford to put it on their card. They can't afford to go into debt for it. Yes. And so what are you doing to truly serve people right now? And how are you pivoting in that way that you are offering your ideal audience, which you understand because you built a personal brand, you're offering them a necessity, a need that they cannot live without instead of a want or a luxury.
Yeah, I'm so glad you said that because I was talking to one of my clients this morning and she was like, this is not what I want to focus on. And I said, it's not about you. It's about what your clients need.
That's right.
What your clients want. And I know you don't want, you don't want to do this. And I know you don't like to stay stuck on this, one subject, but this is where your clients want. This is where your clients are. And this is where your clients need you. So you need to adjust. And she just was like, oh, I don't want to do this.
Yeah.
Well, we all do things that we don't want to do in business, right? I was saying to my husband the other day, I had to do a massive follow-up with people. And that's like the one thing I procrastinate, just for the record. And I'm like, I've been procrastinating all day doing this follow-up because I don't want to be broken up with. I don't want to be, that's how it feels sometimes when people say no to you. They're like, I love you so much. This is amazing. You're so valuable, but I just can't afford to be with you. And I'm just like, it's me. And that's what it is, right? And so we procrastinate the things because they don't feel that good, but they need to happen anyways. And I've given this example before. By the way, I love my in-laws. Okay. But it's like when you're married, you have to go visit your in-laws. You have to spend time with family. You have to do the things that maybe are challenging or difficult for you. Maybe you have to go to sporting events and you're not a sports fan. Maybe he's got to go to a play or a musical with you because you love that, right?
I was going to say, Christina, you just described marriage, by the way. Like maybe I have to go to the ballet once in a while, and she has to go to a football game.
I have to watch. Now I have to watch the Cleveland Browns play all the time now, and
you're in it to win it now, Tina.
Support the orange and brown team.
That's. I'm just gonna let you know, Cleveland Browns. That's compromised, Tina. So good for you. I don't know.
Tony's watching. You're gonna get it.
But that is true, and I love what you're saying about the fact that we do have to just keep showing up regardless. And there's two kind of mindsets around this. And by the way, there's two philosophies, two books written on this: getting to yes, and there's another philosophy, getting to know. Right? Oh. And I like the idea of thinking of getting to know, especially in this economy, where again, before 5, 6, 7, 8 years ago, you were launching things and it was just a yes. It just seemed like, people were thriving. They had the mindset, they were ready to do things. They had more money in the bank account, whatever it may have been. And so they were willing to jump into something, maybe even with a little bit more risk. Now people are, it's risk adverse, right? They're kind of like, hold up. I don't want to have my money in all of this. I want to hang on to a little bit of it. I want to keep it kind of close or under the pillow. And we're starting to see that again in this economy. So giving that value, but I like getting to know. So just like show up every day with the expectation that, I'm looking for 20 no's, because I know with my metrics, my KPI, whatever that may be, that it's going to take 20 no's to get a yes. And what I also like about that is you learn so much about yourself. If all you ever received was a bunch of yeses, you absolutely stop learning at some point.
Yeah. Does that happen for people, by the way?
Maybe a few.
I want to be on that track.
Maybe a few out there. I don't know. I would imagine that if Tony Robbins came on and said, I'm giving my $50,000 program today for $50, there would be all yeses. But that's a very rare, scenario. So anyways, but in this kind of environment. And so here's another thought too. When you said create some maybe lower ticket prices, it doesn't mean that you're delivering lower value.
Thank you.
Yes.
And so that's one of the big things that you have to look at. Meaning that if I'm sorry for those that are vegetarians out there, but I'm going to use this analogy. So if I'm delivering filet mignon, and that's my deal, right? All day long, but all of a sudden now I'm going to offer a low grade, whatever burger,
ground beef.
Exactly. Why not just offer them a smaller piece of the filet mignon, right? To kind of draw them in. So now instead of an 8 ounce, maybe I'm giving them that same value with a 2 ounce. And so, but it does bring people in, and it also sets up the expectations for the future. And we talked about that again before we just came on live. The fact that if you're doing the right things now for the right reasons with the right audience, they're going to be here when things start to thrive again.
Exactly. Yeah. And the other thing too that I've really been focused on in my business is MRR, not master resale rights, monthly recurring revenue, because I know that MRR talked around. But when you're focused on the MRR, be very strategic about what it is that you can sell in your business or how you can bring in income to your business. You're going to start to see an increase in your overall income. So I actually do affiliate marketing. So I know that I have a set amount of income that's going to come into my business on a monthly basis every single month. And I'm constantly adding to that, and it's growing monthly. Yeah. You can also create, we talked about low ticket programs or, monthly memberships where people are paying you low ticket, but they're paying you every single month. So many of you are also out there just trying to catch the next sale, the next client, the next customer. I want you to think about how can the lifetime value of this client, or how can you extend the payments coming from that client or that customer. So when you're thinking about what it is that you want to sell, think about your MRR. There's another stream of income that I have bringing in where I'm doing something very specific in my business. I get paid monthly $1,000 just for that. And I'm maybe spending 2 hours a month on that activity. So again, what is it that you can do to increase, those streams of income on a monthly basis?
Yeah. I think that's such an important topic, Star, because most people are out there like just treading water, right? I remember my first few years of entrepreneurship, I would say that, and I'd have people, what do you mean by that? I'm like, I'm just going and nothing is happening, or I'm like not getting ahead and I'm exhausted and burning out. And if you realize that it's the audience that you build that you keep, and those are the people that will buy from you, and maybe they won't buy from you right now. Maybe if you put in a lower ticket item, they could be around you and stay close to the campfire, but you have to be able to adjust course for them. You have to be willing to adjust course. And again, like we said, get rid of that ego piece of it and say, how can I serve you today? Right? Like a lot of us have been showing up on social media for years, giving free value. Right. And so you might see these big wins that happen. I've been edified over the last couple of weeks because of these big wins that have happened. I'm like, yeah, but I've showed up every day for 8 years. Like, it's not because I just lucked out.
You didn't just step into that space. You've paid your dues. You've been working towards that. And it really wasn't just for the accolade. You showed up doing the same thing, whether you were making $50 a month or whether it was
also that
$50,000, right? Yeah.
There were times, Robert, there were times when I made $50 for the month.
Yeah.
And the other piece that I love that you mentioned, and I'm going to reiterate because this is so important for people, because I just had somebody come to me and say, how do I make $3,000 a month in this business? And I think most people don't understand the numbers. So I just said, okay, well, how many products do you have to sell? How many people do you have to work with? What's the fastest duplicatable system to help people win at the same time as you? And now, how do we get to that number quickly? And so you really have to reverse engineer those numbers and know, say, if I'm trying to get a customer, how many people do I have to talk to in a day? How many people do I have to follow up with? Right. And then you can start guaranteeing your results based on your numbers. But most people don't take the time to do that. And so they squirrel away like that treading water piece for a weekend and work really hard. And they're like, oh, I didn't get the results. But if you squirreled away and did that same activity with the same numbers for 90 days, where would you be?
And notice Christina said that she was actually nurturing people and building those relationships, because she said, how many people do you talk to? Not how many times do you post on social media? So,
that's right. Yeah, that's not talking to people.
That you foster the relationships with your audience.
And also understanding that audience and what they need. I'm going to give an example because I just hosted a workshop, a 9-day workshop. Okay. I prepare a lot for those. I put a lot of time and energy. I think I did 60 30-minute business audits. Like that's 30 hours of business audits with people. Okay. Had these conversations, added value free of charge. Okay. And then I realized that the offer that I was going to present at the end of the workshop was not an offer that was affordable to people right now, even though it was the correct thing for the market and what is necessary, but it wasn't the correct thing for my audience. So mid-workshop, I had to pivot the offer. I also had to offer less for the people that couldn't afford that offer. And then coming out of it on the other side, I'm like, I'm missing the gap here. And so as soon as I started to do something a little bit different, right? I never thought I'd get back into network marketing, that's for sure. But as soon as I decided, hey, look, I'm going to stand for something that I believe in, something that is in alignment with my brand. I put all this free time and energy into, I'd already earned the trust of these people who I love, by the way. It's so cool when you actually take the time to do this, because then you get to work with champions who you will actually want to spend time with. And that's how these relationships work, is because you've given so much to their life and given for free that they're like, you know what? I trust you enough to go into business with you. I trust you enough to do what you're doing and take a leap with you and join with you. Hi, Yambo. She's one of those people that, I don't even know how long we've been talking for, maybe 6 years. We've had a relationship online. I've never met her in person, but I know her. I know what she's gone through. I know her business is inside out and backwards. And I'm like, hey, I have something for you that I think would be of interest. I think this might benefit you. Not I'm trying to sell you. Not I'm trying to make money, but I think that this might be something that you really truly can stand for. And when you learn how to do that in a way, a very long time, yeah. And so when you learn how to do that in a way that is so selfless, that's when you win. But it takes time and energy. Hi, Ashley. Ashley's also one of those people that we just recently connected, but she's been following along for a long time. And your reputation will precede you when you show up that way powerfully and consistently for years.
Yes. You said that, because it is. You have to meet people where they are. You have to have as many things as you can in your wheelhouse as you can to say, okay, well, you can't do this. Okay, so what else can what else do you need? What else do you want? Oh, you know what? I can give you this. I've been, with Christina, I've been friends with her for many, many years and have always wanted to work with her. And we finally found something that we can work together with. And, I have Tony who's working with us too. And, so it's you have to meet them where they are, and you have to have many opportunities for them to say, okay, you can't do this. Well, what about this? And what about this? And what about this? And even if you go down from a $10,000 ticket offer to a $47 masterclass, you're still getting them into your world and into your vibe.
Yeah, absolutely. And, actually, so I'm glad you mentioned that. Tina, you and I talked about that a while ago too, is the fact that most of us had this high ticket offer. And it's like, what kind of value can I still bring? Maybe it's instead of a done for you, right? It's a self-guided type product based on the same service that I'm offering. Or maybe it's just a third of what I'm offering. Maybe someone doesn't need the entire thing. And, the entire thing, meaning that your whole coaching package, everything that you're willing to do, for someone that's still in that discovery phase where they're trying to figure things out, it's very overwhelming, right? So some people would rather have these small little bites along the way, which, by the way, and I'm not saying you're doing it for that reason, but I found over the years can sometimes be even more lucrative, right? Because it's a long lasting relationship over years where people are wanting bit by bit before they actually take on the whole enchilada. And I just realized I'm using a lot of food analogies today. So
making me hungry.
Very hungry.
Moving into the funnel, Robert.
And it's so good. It's so true what you said, Robert, because you do, for me, having a book out there, that's something that they could purchase. And that's what, $10. And then having a workshop for $47, and then having a DIY course for $500 or $1,000, and then having a done with you type of program, and that's more of a group coaching program for $147 a month, and then having a halfway done for you program, and then having a full all the way done for you program. All these different things are that's six different income streams that you can create, and you're all teaching the same thing. You just put them in different kinds of chunks and different categories.
Absolutely. I know a few of you mentioned this, and it's just why I put it in the notes for everyone. But yeah, like shift from selling to providing solutions. That is key. It's always been key, but even more so in this particular economy, because if you're providing solutions and helping people, then a price point seems to kind of evolve with that relationship. If you're helping somebody in their business, like literally right now, if you were to say, A-Star, I have a course that I'd like to offer everyone, $10,000. It'll transform your business, and you'll 2 and 3x your current income. Most people are going to be hesitant to that, right? But for maybe $500 or $1,000, if you can prove to them and establish that relationship and show them how you can start to kind of compound that effect in their business, then 10,000 is minimal, right? When you think of what it would be like to go from 50,000 to 100,000 or 100,000 to $200,000 in your business. And so that's the kind of thing that we're in right now. Provide solutions, help people where their pain point actually is, like build your products and services around that pain point to be able to help people through that. If you do that, you're going to transform lives, and you're going to transform their bank account, which in turn transforms yours as well.
And also, I think too, understanding what motivates people, right? Like what really motivates people, because some people are not motivated by money. Some people right now just want a sense of community and support and encouragement, right? Some people are motivated after the last couple of years to travel. I'm highly motivated by travel, right? I know, right? And so like there are these different things, different personality types want different things. And so if you're only offering how to make money, or, you know, or only offering a community, you're missing out on different audiences and different people. The same thing goes, you know, if you show up on social media this whole time, but you don't do a podcast, or you don't write a book, or you don't, you know, you don't have all these different modalities that people can find you. I can't tell you how many times over the last years that I've had people reach out to me and say, oh my God, I just read the chapter in your book. I'm like, which book? Right? Because I've done a few of these chapters. I'm like, which one? And that connected them. I never would have found that person on social media. They never would have found me, right? And so I think that it's really understanding that it's growing your network. We talk about this all the time. Your network is your net worth.
Absolutely.
But giving people what they need, not what you think they need, not what you need, right? When Tina, you were saying that, like, oh, I don't really want to do that. Okay, well, if you don't want to do it, then don't do it. But then don't complain about suffering and not having a result.
Yeah.
So true. So true. And a little plug for my upcoming book, which I'm about 2 months, unfortunately, behind in the launch, because I'm perfectionist. There's so much content. It's like 2.5 years in the making. But it's called 7-Figure Relationships, right? And it's built around not just the monetary aspect of that, but it's about all of the relationships, the collaborations over the years. And this is the best time. And the reason why I'm even just kind of bringing this up, it is the absolute best time when you feel like your business is in a slump and you're still kind of going through these things, or, you know, just month to month, you're not pulling in the same money you were. Continue to show up, but build those relationships, like collaborate with others and find those affiliate products that you talked about, Star, right? Like, you know, sometimes when it's your own product that just isn't selling, find out whose is and see if there's a way to collaborate with them to bring in that other stream of income.
Yeah, I think
everybody has affiliate programs nowadays, you know, too. So,
well, it's just a matter, like, I would rather get 20 streams of income paying me between $500 and $1,000 a month than depend on one stream of income that paid me 30, right? Because that can disappear at any time. The economy can change, the company can change, all of these, everything can shift, right? And so if you start slowly, and sometimes it takes a day to integrate. Sometimes it takes a week. Sometimes it takes months. Sometimes it takes 3 years to integrate a new stream of income, right? But if you have a long-term vision of sustainable business and you keep in alignment with your audience, right? You're not, I see people do this. I make this mistake all the time. They're like, I'm going to sell this, and then I'm going to sell this, and then I'm going to sell this. And they're like, it's so confusing. You're like looking each direction and be like, so what do you do? And that's where people lack clarity. If they are not purchasing from you, it's because they don't know what you're selling and they don't know how it'll benefit them. And so we're in this heart-centered space now that service wins. And not only do you have to overcome people's skepticism, but you have to overcome the fact that maybe your service isn't the right for them. Maybe you have to do what's best for them and say, hey, you know what? I think you'd be really great talking to Star about what she's got going on, or Robert, you know, and refer people and do the right thing. Because what I see right now, it's so interesting because people are getting desperate, and it's like scary, right? And so what I'm seeing right now is like, oh, are you going to go with her? Are you going to go with her? Are you going to do this? What are you going to do? Right. And they're like fighting over people. And it's like, you don't own anybody. If you, and Danelle Delgado taught me this, and I will remember this for the rest of my life. You have to be of service to people so that you increase their odds of winning. People will join you. People will buy from you if you increase their odds of winning. And whether that is a result, making more money, whatever it is. And when you start to think about life that way, it's a totally different way of showing up.
So true. So true. And so perfect time to talk about one element that I think we all seem to bring up on the show, and that's mindset. Like this is, you know, to continue to educate yourself, to work on self, right? Your personal brand, to continue to kind of hone that in and develop it along the way as you're building business. It means so much for the longevity of you staying intact and also you being able to deliver at a high caliber to your clients. And so even if it was 100 clients you were delivering to monthly and now it's only 10, you should be able to have that same exact energy. And if there's gaps while you're waiting in between, continue to educate and like develop yourself. I don't know about each and every one of you. I'm still on my mission. Typically, in the beginning, I said it's a book every week. Well, I wasn't very productive in doing that when I started that journey beginning of last year. And so it's, really kind of shifted more into about a book every 2 weeks. But that's excellent, because then what I do is I recycle those books back, and later on I'm highlighting notes and I'm thinking about things, and then I kind of pay them forward to other clients that fall into categories that could be, that could learn from that book. But I just think that this is the best time to continue to develop yourself and to work on those things, and then you're going to see the dividends in the future for sure.
It's definitely about mindset, Robert. I love that you shared that mindset topic. Oftentimes when a business is failing or has failed or things have decreased, people will walk away and just not want to work on their business anymore, or they just feel like, I'm going back to the workforce. Entrepreneurship is not for me. And I have to tell you, I've had multiple failed businesses. I've had businesses that did really well and then didn't,
I think we can all raise our hand on that. Right? Yeah.
We have all failed at some business or another.
And these are all based on specific things. But if you have a very strong mindset to know that this is temporary and you're focused on, okay, what's next? What am I working on next? Then you're going to be able to move past that temporary time of, whether it be a decrease in revenue or a decrease in your income. I spent a whole year building up a medical supply, durable medical equipment business where we couldn't sell anything because we were not licensed by the state. We invested for a whole year before that came through. And I could have easily been like, well, I'm not going to focus on that. Even during COVID, I had expanded the company with 5 different streams of income where I had lash salons. We added in lash salons into the physical retail locations. I think we shut down for like 2 months during the pandemic, like retail locations did. But guess what happened? People were still buying my hair products, but the lash technicians did not return to work. They wanted to stay getting their unemployment checks. Sure. At that time, I had started my coaching business. I had replaced a lot of that income that was coming in from the lash studios through another stream of income. So this is why it's important for you to think about, what are the various ways that you can bring? I know we talked about this before, but I like to give you guys examples so that you can really think through the process of what you can offer in your business.
Yeah. And the other piece of mindset. The piece of that too that we need to address is, what are the future problems? What are the future things? If you keep up on some of the current events and what's coming down the pipeline, right? Like I know in Canada they're looking at universal basic income, and so what does that do? That gives people a reason to stay home and do nothing. Exactly. That just like they did over COVID, right?
We saw it during that. Yeah, exactly.
That's going to change the dynamic of the workforce. And so if you can start to think ahead, I think I know people get anxiety when they think about the past, and they think too much about the past, and then they worry too much if they're thinking about the future. But if you can live in the present and start thinking about what's coming next and create solutions for the future and for the problems that people have right now going into the future, then you win every single time. But you have to be creative. You cannot be a follower. You must be a leader. You must be somebody that innovates, and you cannot be scared of failure. And that's part of your mindset too, right? Is that we get used to failure. We figure out the things that don't work very, very quickly and pivot and adjust course. I always think of like that episode of Friends with Ross and like pivot, right? Like always, because you can't stay stagnant. And as entrepreneurs, we're constantly reinventing ourselves.
Yeah. Kelly's going to love that analogy, by the way, because she's watched the entire series at least 50 times. I mean, I don't even know. I could probably quote everything from that entire series. One of the things too about building a strong mindset is it leads me into one more point I'm throwing in there. And that is, in order to really grow and to allow yourself to pivot and set new expectations for self and for your clients, is to survey, ask for feedback, right? Those 2 things in itself is going to really help you grow during this time. It'll help you with those price points, your next boot camp, Christina, right? Like asking people questions about, well, what would have been the price point that you would have paid, or, what typically would you pay for this type of delivery or this type of breakthrough, or what could have I done better? Like asking those questions, you have to be very thick-skinned. You have to be prepared for the answers that they may give you. And so having a strong mindset will allow you to, set you up for that expectation. And then that feedback is so valuable because you can actually take that and you can create new products and services around the demand of your current network, in your tribe, and then even for others, right? I've found, and then necessarily you'll also maybe find it's kind of a reevaluation for yourself, because you'll find maybe this isn't my audience. Like maybe my products and services and my passions aren't fully aligned with my current audience. Yeah. I don't mean to throw your audience away. It just means everything that you talked about earlier, Star, creating new opportunities and maybe dividing those up just a little bit differently.
I seen an engagement post the other day, and it said, what would you do with $500 if you didn't need to pay your bills with it? What would you do with $500 if you did not need to pay your bills with it? And everybody was like, I would, buy this kind of course. I would do this. I would purchase this.
Improvement.
That right there will tell you exactly what kind of course, what kind of book, what kind of masterclass, whatever you need to create. Because that's
so true. Which, by the way, Tina, do you need our Cash App for that real quick? Do you need our Cash App for that $500 that you're going to be sending us? No?
No, that was for me, right?
Oh, okay.
Can I tell you how much I appreciate, though, like that we're all going through this together in different industries at different times. And like, I love that we get together on Thursdays and can laugh. Like, I think bringing comedy into stressful situations, into times that are really tough, is so important. And I look forward to speaking with each and every one of you every single Thursday, because I know that we're going to bring value, right? We don't get paid for this, but we bring value. We show up and we have fun.
$100 to Cash App. I'll just put
we should just put our Cash App. If you would like to donate, like that cup of coffee app or whatever.
Yes,
if you want to donate, right?
That's
if you want to donate, right here.
Yeah, that's right. Cash App, Uncensored Entrepreneurs.
Like I appreciate that I don't feel alone in this. And I'm so glad that we do this show, because how many entrepreneurs are out there blaming themselves or saying, I'm not cut out for this, or I'm not sure if I can continue, or I'm just going to pivot over here. And without having the foresight to think, is this right for me? Is it right for my audience? Is it right for my future? Right. And those are the things you have to continue to ask yourself to stay in alignment. And I'm going to tell you, the magic happens when you stay in that alignment and you continue to make choices that are best for you and what you truly stand for, instead of just going to chase the dollar here, there, or everywhere because you're desperate. And we get it. Like, we get it. I've been in that place where I put $2 worth of gas in my car. I've been $70,000 in debt. I've had those times in my only literally a toonie. I could put
only get you a half a gallon of gas.
That would get me nothing, right? I'd be able to get down the block.
Well, that, Christina, for those of you guys who are watching, you're going to have all these people who are wanting to get this kind of information. So make sure you share this on your Facebook or in your Instagram, wherever you're watching, because your audience is going to need this and want this kind of information as well. So make sure you share this video, because you're going to get a lot of great engagement. They're going to show you and tell you what they need if you just let them poll it. You know what I mean? Like, put it down.
Yeah, survey them, ask them the questions, and again, just be prepared for the response. And I love that. I love constructive criticism. I think it's always helped me in corporate America and in my own business. I've been able to pivot and grow because of that.
Let's ask Kelly if you like constructive criticism.
Oh, are you kidding? Are you kidding? Because of Kelly alone, I've had to be really, really good and thick-skinned to add constructive criticism. But no, anyways, just kidding.
Those are the best kind of relationships, though. Those are the best relationships. When you guys
you see a shoe come flying.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. She's not here, luckily. No, just kidding.
But that's just it. When you find a partner, by the way, when you find a partner that makes you want to become the best version of yourself, you can get through anything together. And although you may not agree, right? Like, and especially right now, let's address this a little. It may not be constructive all the time, she says. But let's address this, because what happens, the number one reason people get divorced is because of money, because they don't spend money the same way. They don't make money the same way. They hold it. The stress comes through the roof. And so we're giving you tools to become more proactive in being able to navigate this course, because it's going to be a tough 12 to 18 months. It's going to be really tough, and there's going to be a lot of shifts. And so what can you do to navigate that? I knew coming into business, I never ever wanted to fight with my husband about money. I never wanted to make him feel bad. I never wanted him to make me feel bad. I wanted to be able to spend money the way I wanted to. I didn't ever want somebody to tell me how to spend money, right? And so we have to be self-responsible in that space and say, hey, look, we are both going to take ownership here. You know, we have a rule as a couple that if we are going to buy anything over $1,000, it's a conversation.
Yeah.
Right.
So, and you know what? It's interesting. It's not, I know money is a big wedge, right? Of course it is. But it's usually two things that comprise, you know, that make up the money issue. It's communication, right? And it's alignment. Like that's the biggest thing, right? If you're fully aligned and you've got each other's back on whatever that particular mission is in life, then you're both going to continue to strive for it. And you know this, Christina, like we've all talked about this before, but you know about this in regards to wanting to build a business that may take years to build, but if you have that partner or even business partners, it's not just in a relationship, any type of relationship where they know that we're fully vested in this and we're going to give it X amount of time. And if it doesn't work right, we're going to pivot or we're going to pull the plug or whatever we're going to do, but we're aligned with one another on this vision. That is so key.
And let me just tell you, me being the newbie in a new relationship these days.
Yeah. Tony's taking notes, by the way. Tony's taking notes. I know he is.
You probably. But we communicate. That is one thing that I love. I mean, I love a lot of stuff about our relationship, but we communicate so well. And we're like always on the same track. Like, you know, we communicate and we're always communicating about everything. And, you know, we just moved in together and we got engaged and then moved in together. Let me just say I'm not pregnant. But,
yeah, so random. Okay.
So we got engaged, we moved in together, but the communication of it, you know, who's paying what, when are we going to do this? How are we going to do? Are you going into labor?
You got her laughing so hard.
No, but he's moving. He's moving a lot, and there's not a lot
our
of room.
views just went up to 500 live views because they thought you were going in labor, Christina.
Keep doing it, Christina. Keep doing it. Isaac, you want to come see your teaching?
Everyone share the link now. We're going to stay live through this.
Active labor. Watch Christina Wiley go into active labor. Bring the camera down.
No. So there's some things I hold sacred, and that's one of them. Also, we just talked about this before. I'm not the mom that'll be putting breastfeeding photos out. It's just not for me. Everybody to each their own. I totally admire women that do that, but there will be no live births. Tina, please continue what you were saying before.
So, I mean, communication in a relationship is huge, and having that supportive person right there. Because when for 5 years I was single, and so I was so lonely. You know, I met making a lot of money or whatever, traveling and doing whatever, but it was so lonely to come home and be like, Now it's, you know, like now it's just me. There was nobody to celebrate that with. There was nobody to cheer me on. There was nobody to support me when I was feeling down. So having that now is so important to me. And so I'm so grateful to have that. So I'm glad that you guys all have that too.
Yeah.
No, I have that too.
That brings back kind of things that we talk about in almost every single episode, and it's building that network, building that tribe, that team, whatever it may be in life, right? In life, relationships, and business. What is she saying now?
She said entrepreneurs better have some thick skin, or we need transparency.
That's true. That is true. That is true. That is true. Because there's always big decisions happening, right?
Yeah.
But the thing is, like, it's so important to build those relationships and to collaborate with those, because there's going to be times in your business that you just don't feel like pushing through, that you don't feel like getting out of bed. It's a continuous like roller coaster as we talk about. And so in that hero's journey, those ups and downs, you need that other person to support you. Yeah. Not just again in relationships, because we're not just speaking to those that are married.
We've all four of us have gotten on Thursday morning going, oh. It was a couple of weeks ago. Star and I said, oh my God, I can't get on. I'm sick or whatever. Star goes, I was going to call out today.
I was really
That's what there's for
back.
And it's great that all four of us, if we really need each other to back it up, we will. But we do support one another and be like, what's going on? How can we help? Go ahead and get dressed and get on the show. And it helps having us four as a support system. And that's why, when we were putting this together, there was certain people and certain things that I was looking for. I wanted that authenticity. I wanted those people to support, and I wanted those people to support no matter what, and to be there without that judgment, because Uncensored Entrepreneurs is just that, uncensored. We want to get that dirty, that real, raw, ugly piece of becoming an entrepreneur. And right now, we're going to see a little piece of that ugly entrepreneurness in everybody, because we're going to, we're all going through those tough times.
Network marketing is such a great analogy to align with that, because there's so much to learn in that system as a whole. Yeah. You look online, you're seeing people and you're meeting people that are making millions of dollars, right? I'll never forget, like, meeting some of my peers, which later became coaches, where they were literally pulling in $1 million a month, right? Yeah. And so when you think of that, you're like, wow, $1 million a month. That's a goal I can't even.
You can't comprehend that.
Yeah. But
I just want $1 million a year.
Right. But the fact of the matter is, that's such a small percentage, and right. So when you hold yourself to that standard, especially in the beginning of any type of business or venture, then you're going to be letting yourself down when you're not hitting certain milestones, or you're sitting there going, well, I have the same capability, and you do. Right? You do have the same capability that they have. You just may not have the same network. You may not have the same clout, the same, whatever it may be.
20 years that it took them to get there.
It takes a lot of time to build all those relationships, the know, like, trust factor. So continue to push forward. Like, you can look at those to kind of, inspire you, but understand that there's like another 99% of that entire team that's in the same situation that you're in. And so when you start to look at things that way, and you actually network with those type of individuals, when you reach out and you start collaborating, you'll find, and that's the purpose of the show, to actually reveal that it is a tough journey. There's a lot of people in the same exact boat that you're in. Mm-hmm. And we've been through those different ups and downs, right? You talked about it earlier, Christina, the $50 a month, and then the $50,000 month, right? We've actually experienced those things. So we know what's possible, and that's what keeps us pushing, keeps pushing us forward. But we also take this major risk and factor, as Kelly said about having thick skin. What a $50 a month feels like as well, right? Yeah. And by the way, it's a topic I'll just bring up, that when you're working for yourself, it isn't regular, right? I have a customer, a client, that if they're watching, we have an awesome relationship, but it takes time to collect income. It takes time to build that relationship, and sometimes, help people to actually see the value that you can bring them in the future. It's really hard when you're looking future, right? Because most people live in the present, like today's week. What can you do for me this week? Mm-hmm. And how does that equate to me, my lifestyle, and my bank account? Not what can you do for me today that's going to help me 12 months from now. And so just continue to kind of hold yourself to those expectations, help others, to educate them, to kind of guide them through that process. And that's kind of my last thought of the day, in just saying that is the best way to set yourself up for pivoting, setting expectations for self, your clients, and never give up. That's the biggest thing. If you set that expectation that you will have no's, you will have some hard months, then the future is going to continue to look brighter. Yeah. Any other thoughts?
I think we can leave it at that.
All right, we're going to leave it there. That was the close. All right. We do appreciate it. One last thing I'll just close with is, we're always looking for guests to be on, right? And so if there's a topic that you think would be great on this show and you'd like to be part of the show, then please reach out to one of us and we'll set you up in our calendar for the future. And then we're also looking for sponsors. We're looking to take this program and to expand it to do many other things. And I look forward to next week, as always. And Christina, continue to have many blessings on our little co-host that's riding with you on this journey called life. So
thank you so much.
We'll see you guys next week.
All right.
See you later.
Thank y'all.